Welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast for the California MBA featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before I get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our 2023 President's Council sponsors. These are companies that provide a tremendous amount of financial support to the California MBA, in large part so that we can continue to be the strong voice for the real estate finance industry before the California State Legislature and our regulators. So I would like to thank the 2023 President's Council sponsors, and those companies include AmeriHome, Arch MI, Consolidated Analytics, Funding Shield, Guild Mortgage, Insellerate, Rocket Mortgage, and Western Alliance Bank. Thank you all so much for your support this year. And speaking of our President's Council sponsors, I am happy to welcome Insellerate CEO Josh Friend to Connect this week. Josh, welcome back.
Susan, thanks for having me. As always, it's always a pleasure.
Great. So we are, big week in the mortgage industry. We are at the MBA convention in Philadelphia. So love to kind of hear your thoughts on what you're most excited about either hearing or sharing at the convention this week.
I mean, for me, it's really seen what innovation's taken over the last 12 months. And, I think what lenders have really been faced with over the last, even 24 months is, hey, how do we now do this more efficiently, right? I mean, so before we had this refinance boom, we weren't necessarily the most efficient industry. The refinance boom came into place, and the truth was you didn't have to be efficient. It's just like, it's like just catching, shooting fish in a barrel, as they'd say. Now it's all of a sudden, wait a minute, now stakes are high. We know there's money in this industry. How do we become efficient? And really what it comes down to is how do we look at doing things different, right? You can't just keep doing it the same way and expect better results. Like at this point, we've gotten the most out of what we can of people and, processes that have already been in place. So I think it's just seeing, what the new innovations are looking like.
There is, definitely a lot of innovations, and it is exciting to see all of the new things that are out there. It seems like we've kind of, every year my mind's blown with a new thing that's happening in this industry. Speaking of that, of course, what's on everybody's mind is artificial intelligence and AI in every aspect of our lives, but for our case, obviously just in the mortgage industry. You recently presented to our executive forum on the topic of artificial intelligence, and you pretty much blew everybody's minds. I think we all kind of like tangentially know a little bit about it, but the information that you were really able to dig into, I thought was really fascinating. So can you share with listeners what lenders should be paying attention to in this area right now?
Yeah, I mein, here's kind of in a nutshell AI. One is understand it's going to affect and touch everything you do. Just plain and simple. I bet you a quarter of your vendors are using AI right now in some way, form, or fashion. You don't even know about it. You have employees right now using AI, using ChatGPT to help them fix emails and do things. It's just happening. So it's going to happen. So you have to embrace it. You have to understand what it really is. The second thing I'd say is I know for the last handful of years, 4, 5, 6 years, there's been a lot of companies saying they have AI. We have this AI thing, and I've pretty keep up to date on AI. We've done AI work as well. We have AI in our platform. And one of the things that I learned early on was when people would say this, 5, 6 years ago, and this was even more of an infancy stage, was, well, great, what AI engine are you using? And I think that's a really important question for all lenders should ask. If a company comes to you and says, I have AI, it's just my own proprietary AI, unless their name's Google or Microsoft or Amazon.
One I've heard of.
Yeah, unless they're one of those, IBM, unless they're those like 4 big major houses that have AI, no one else has built artificial intelligence on their own proprietary thing. So just that's one thing. So there's a lot of vendors that would talk about AI, but it's their own proprietary. It's not AI. So just understand what they're being built on. You want to make sure they're being built in using the tools of the big players. ChatGPT, OpenAI being the leader in the space right now. We're lucky. OpenAI is part of Microsoft, has been an investor in it, so their technology is actually kind of almost native to our platform now and tools that we use. So those are the things that you're looking for. Is the leaders buying software from the people that are using the leading technology.
Leading technology. Yeah, no, that's great advice. Hey, sidebar note, have you seen the new Mission Impossible?
No, I have not yet.
Remember that I asked you that question right after I talked about AI, and then you'll know kind of like a little bit of where that movie is going. But I just watched it, and I was thinking about all of your presentation, as a matter of fact. So you kind of, you touched on this earlier. Certainly, this is a challenging market for loan originators, and they're all competing for business, looking for ways to stand out to borrowers. So how is Insellerate making it easier for originators to gain market share?
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about this, how do you stand out? And it's kind of, I'll just give you an analogy of going to a restaurant, right? How does a restaurant stand out? I mean, for some extent, they're selling a commodity, it's food. Yes, it's unique, then maybe they cook it better than others. But when you go to a good restaurant, things that stand out are they greet you, they say hello. They sit you down in a timely manner. If you need water, someone's there right away without you really having to, make much motion or wait long. The responsiveness and their service is on point. They're paying attention to you. They're engaging with you. And that's with anything. I mean, any service that you do. You're buying a home. Your real estate agent's checking in with you every couple of days. Here's what's going on. That's service. So what we've always done is really manage how do you engage with your borrowers, right? So I think Susan, we've shared our MBA contact study. We've I think done 5 different years of it. Studied over 1,500 lenders. We go to their website, we apply online, ask them for a mortgage, and then we time them and see how quickly they respond to us, what they say to us, and we find out, do they emails, text us, or call us, all 3 or none of the above. And last year's study, 40% of lenders never responded to a single inquiry.
What?
Yes. So that's actually, by the way,
that's crazy.
Because the year before it was 65%. So that there's an improvement. Now, the average response time was 19 hours. So a whole day to respond to someone who said, hey, I want to buy a mortgage, a house, a mortgage, I want to get pre-approved. The average follow-up time was 1.1 time. So if they got followed up with, very, very few was there more than one outreach. And here's a kicker. Only 1% of lenders called, emailed, and texted that lead. So 2021 survey out of 500 lenders, there's 5 people that actually called, texted, or email. So, I mean, table stakes, real simple. Our software, that'll never happen to you. So whether someone comes up and meets you face to face, they apply online, we have all the automation that's going to email, call, text. It'll call your loan officer. As soon as they pick up the phone, it'll call the borrower who just said, contact me. And if they don't get contact, they can go to a different group. They can get texted, they can automate. So I think really, the way you stand out is service. And I can't tell you more than anything than in this industry, communication is key to service, right? I was a loan officer for years. And I remember I had this lady, and this is a story I talk about service. This kind of hits the nail on the head. Is she would call me every day around 10:30, asking about her loan. This was 1999. I was at IndyMac Bank. It was taking about 60 to 70 days to close loans, and it was really chaotic at the time. Quite honestly, people were signing HUDs at the time that were wrong, and it was difficult. But we were busy, and so she called me every day. What's going on? And I would say, hey, you know what? Still with the underwriters. It's a 20-day underwriting time. We're at day 18. Every day she'd call me, and finally I realized it's 10:30. And I asked her, what's going on at 10:30? She said, well, I take my break. So I said, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm tired of her calling me every day, and she doesn't think I'm doing my job. I started calling her about 10 o'clock, 2-3 days in a row before she called me. Told her, hey, let's let you know this is what's going on, blah, 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 blah. After the 3rd day, she didn't call me anymore because she realized I'm paying attention to what's important to her. What's important to her is important to me. And that's really what all she was trying to convey is, this is important to me. I'm going to call you every day because it's important to me. And I was able to say back to her, it's important to me too. I'm calling you back. I'm checking up on it. So just that lesson of communication and being able to interact with your borrowers, you're going to pull through more loans. That really comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, that's simple and great advice. And I think that we all as consumers in everything we do, we expect that, right? It's like we have a good experience when we have good communication and good customer service. I mean, I think that's a great point. And Insellerate, of course, is a wonderful tool. So thank you for pointing that out. Josh, you've been a success as a mortgage banker. You're an incredible entrepreneur and done wonderful things with Insellerate. I've had the pleasure of knowing you for several years and just loved watching Insellerate grow. You have your son is part of our Future Leaders program this year. Thank you so much for that. Hope he is enjoying it. But what advice would you give to a young mortgage professional that's just starting out? Challenging year.
Yeah, I mean, really what it comes down to is if this is going to be your profession, become a professional at it. And like, what does that mean? That means, are you learning? Are you studying from people who have done this before? Are you learning how to do better presentations? Are you learning about loan programs? Are you going to trade shows to hear what people are talking about? Are you immersing yourself in your industry? Because if you start to immerse yourself in your industry and you start to learn more about programming, I mean, early in my career, one of the things that made me successful was when the market crashed in 2006-07, and subprime loans were gone and everyone went cash out. Well, guess what? FHA loans were still available. And the truth was almost nobody sold FHA loans at the time. So if you look like 2000, 2006, the FHA origination of loans was so minuscule compared to what it has turned into. But also in 2006 hit, and I realized, well, let's take a look at this FHA program. They don't have it anymore, but they used to have a 95% cash out loan. Well, all of a sudden, because we knew that, we had studied the programs and the guidelines, we knew how they worked, we were able to sell them, and we were super busy. 2012 to like 2017, like 80% of my loans at the bank were ARMs. The regulators came in and said, why are you selling so many ARMs? This isn't normal. And we said, well, let me just show you. We actually laid out, here's what the ARMs look like, and here's the presentation we give to the consumers, which is basically, here's your cap, here's your max, here's your floor, here's what here's what it could look like in 5 years. And if you looked at it, it makes a lot of sense to take an ARM. But we just educated ourselves. So it's just educate yourself, know your guidelines, know your programs, be that person that when someone calls up, because you want a real estate agent to call you, and you're the one that says, I think I can get that done, or we have to do it this way, or we can put 10% down here, we can do 5. That's the kind of thing you need to work on. So be professional, immerse yourself in what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a good year. I mean, it's kind of a strange thing to say, but it would be kind of a good year for someone to get started in this industry, because it's not, drinking from a fire hose, and you would have time to kind of learn these programs, right? And the nuances of some of the programs that, like you say, when you're shooting fish in a barrel, you're not necessarily paying attention to, because funds always rain, right? That's right. Yep. These are the times when you can really grab more of that information in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I know loan officers and lenders that are making money right now and actually doing well. Like here's what I say to all those originators out there, lenders. There's going to be multiple loan officers making over $1 million this year. There's going to be many mortgage bankers making millions of dollars this year. So it's possible, right? So then now's the time, which is, I think is great for our industries, is when efficiencies do get rewarded. Those people that can become efficient, then can deliver a lower rate, better service to our customers win. And that's what we're seeing now.
Right. Yeah. A lot of the smart lenders are preparing for, making changes in efficiency, creating more efficiencies for when, we do have more of a recovery in this market and things can get a little bit more balanced as far as origination volumes and whatnot. So that's
You mean, Susan, they don't want to be paying underwriters $500,000 a year and a huge sign-on bonus just to come over anymore. I said that's the last time it will happen in our industry.
Right. Those were crazy times, but you got to do what you got to do, right?
That's right. Yep.
I mean, at the time, my goodness. Well, Josh, thank you so much. And I just want to close by really recognizing you and Insellerate. As I mentioned at the top of the webinar, or the podcast rather, Insellerate's been a President's Council sponsor and supported us greatly for the past several years. And I really appreciate that. As you know, we use those funds in large part to continue our advocacy efforts. I know you have a background in that as well, and that you support what it is that we do. And I just want you to know how grateful we are, and thank you to Insellerate for your support, and thanks for being on Connect today.
Thank you, Susan. We really appreciate it, and we appreciate everything you guys do for the industry.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on Connect. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.
Here we go.